Emma Schindler. And up next will be Kelly Ralston, Corey Ricketts, Dee Dee Halpern.
Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, and members of the FWC. My name is Emma Schindler, and I'm a marine science student at the University of Florida. I speak to you today moved by the prospects of safer shark fishing processes and also in admiration of the enormous tasks tackled each day by the FWC. Today I stand so humbled by the grace and environmental significance encompassed by the entire shark species. Keeping that in mind, I also understand the prominence of shark fishing culture, especially in Florida, and the importance of this activity in the hearts of anglers everywhere. That is why I continue, like others before me, to ask for a compromise solution of simply cutting the line. These three words comprise a perfect solution to ensure angler safety and the well-being of sharks as well. In speaking with members of the scientific community over the last month, such as Dr. Kujera and Dr. Schiffman, I learned of the pernicious effects even moments out of the water can have on sharks. After simply posing the question to them to what is recommended for best angler practices, it was no surprise that the scientific community unanimously recommended always leaving the shark in the water and immediately cutting the line. It's a win-win for both anglers and sharks without compromising the safety of the angler. I just cannot wrap my head around how continuing to allow anglers to drag sharks out of the water is safer than immediately cutting the line. Commissioner Kellum, you mentioned your experience this past weekend with the nurse shark on Juneau Beach and are looking for ways to keep others safe. It really is simple. Keep the sharks in the water and require the line to be cut immediately. Minimize angler and beachgoer contact with the sharks and require the immediate release. By including the three words, cut the line, in new regulations, by not including these words, we are leaving the door open for these anglers to continue to drag sharks out of the water. This community has proven they cannot self-regulate, and they need solid direction. They need to see these three words, cut the line, and they need to know it is required. Minutes of gill exposure to the air can prove lifelong for sharks, especially sensitive species like hammerheads. Dragging sharks on sand leaves them susceptible to microabrasions, and while a shark may be alive when it swims away, it could die soon after. Even if the shark survives this trauma, its impact on migratory and mating patterns can really ruin its life. But what about the sharks that don't make it out alive? FWC mentioned in their presentation the confusion about what should be done when prohibited sharks wash up dead on beaches. In this fuzzy matter, currently, the direction from the FWC is either to bury the shark or tow them back out to sea. We feel, however, that this is a massive waste of resources. Through speaking with Hannah Med of the American Shark Conservancy, it became clear that actually having a tangible shark for research is a rare yet invaluable resource. Cutting, hiding, or any disposure, in general, of prohibited shark species is a giant waste of potential data. We would like to begin the process of instating a statewide program to address this issue, a type of dead shark hotline akin to the response teams for turtles or dolphins. Mortality is built into population models, and it's time to acknowledge that and use it to our advantage. Now, the prospects that we bring up today all seem great, but how do we make them a reality? Evaluating the numbers associated with the jurisdiction of the FWC is truly mind-boggling. The FWC is responsible for nearly 54,000 square miles of land, 12,000 square miles of water, and 5.8 million acres of wildlife management areas, making up one of the largest public hunting systems in this country. Within these lands are over 575 species of wildlife, including over 700 species of fish, all which must be managed by the FWC. But the incessant burden is the over 21 million Florida residents that the FWC must oversee, and their impact on all the natural resources in the state of Florida. Human consumption and resource abuse is a detrimental burden, hurting even the smallest critter. Conservation is a worthwhile but expensive task. In July of 2017, the then Governor Rick Scott wrote a letter to the FWC in response to the Michael Wenzel shark dragging incident. He complimented the FWC for their efforts and also included a line that rings true to this situation. Governor Scott noted, "I know that FWC law enforcement works to protect all of Florida's wildlife, and we need to make sure that they have the tools to ensure Florida has the best fisheries in the world." Proper tools are rooted in proper funding. An entity with such a large breadth needs funding. I hope that our new governor, Ron DeSantis, will continue to strive for environmental wellness by making the FWC a priority, to ensure that the agency is properly funded, to recruit and retain sufficient law enforcement, and to protect the natural resources of the state of Florida while also providing additional support needed to enforce these new regulations and our new regulations. Ultimately, Florida is viewed as a leader, and the FWC is as well. The attractions of our water and land bring much activity, and that should enact us to set forth groundbreaking precautions. By simply adding cutting the line to the new regulation and considering our ideas, Florida will continue to lead. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Schindler.